Today I'm going to be covering what I did this past week, some of the wins and losses that I had, and some of the plans and thoughts I have about the future, and what I need to work on and fix for the future as well. So for last week, I think this is the week of the 15th, if I'm correct. Yes, this is the week of the 15th that I'm talking about. So last week, from my point of view, I developed a new journaling system, and this is more, instead of just going on a list of, I did exactly this, and that, it's more of reflecting on the day as a whole and extracting principles that I can look back to and apply in the future. Also working on polishing my cello concerto. So right now I'm working on Lalo Cello Concerto, and I have a recital coming up, and I'm making sure that everything is spick and span, sounds good, and making sure it's performance ready. I also have noticed an increase in my self-awareness throughout the school day, and specifically the school day, because that's when I face the most challenges that I have to think through, process, and overcome. And I've been developing what's called meta-awareness. And so I'm able to think about my thoughts and my actions in the moment. And that gives me a greater ability to realize if it's something I want to do, speak, think, or not. Other things, I've been able to finish my homework in school. So I try to take time in my classes or my easier classes. Once I finish with the work that's just designated for that class, I'll move on to work I have for my other classes. And I've been able to get through all my work and mostly finish it before I come home. And I started the final preparations for starting my copywriting business. And there was a bit of inconsistency, but the important thing is that every day I showed up and I did all my non-negotiables. I did even the smallest thing. So for working out, I just did one set. I didn't do all 3 sets. I didn't do them all with a weighted vest. Just did one simple set, and then I could make sure and check off that I did it for that day. And I was also able to have meaningful interactions with those around me. So I've mentioned before that I don't have a ton of close, like-minded people at my school, but I still try to have good conversations with other people as well. And so I've been able to have conversations with some of my school friends one-on-one, which was fun. And I've been able to lead conversations talking about the future, their goals, what they want to do. And I think that gives people a better image of me, because I'm just having a regular conversation about the future, and then I tell them a bit about what I'm doing. Not everything, because not everyone needs to know everything, but I give them a little bit of what I'm doing, and then it gives them a little burst of motivation sometimes, and I'm gonna go do something specific now. And that's been cool to see in the peers around me. So some of the losses from last week. I was overusing social media a bit. So I was on YouTube and I was on Instagram, and I was wasting a bunch of time. And it got in the way of my focus. It distracted my thoughts. So everything wasn't running clear. It was a little foggied up a lot of the time. And I also faced a bit of productive procrastination. So I was thinking more about the thing instead of actually doing the thing. And I was also distracted by TV. I would just sit down and I would have either a movie playing in the background while I worked, and I would divert my attention from time to time, and that would just distract me from the work I'm actually trying to do. And then I also I didn't follow through with my plans. So as I mentioned a little bit before, I had set a plan last week for making final preparations for starting my copywriting business. But last week, even though I did show up, I was doing at least something. I didn't follow through with exactly what I had set up for myself to make myself fully prepared for actually starting my business. And reflecting back on that, I will share some of the details that I discovered later. And I also realized that I've been having suboptimal sleep. And one of my journals that I do daily, I track my sleep. And I've been realizing I've been getting 6.5 hours of sleep almost regularly. And that is far below what is optimal for me and what I'm trying to get to fully maximize my health. And so this has caused me to have a change of pace and has caused me to rethink some of what I'm doing is my environment at home. So I've decided that I need to design my environment in a way that I don't use my phone as much and I'm not able to be distracted by technology, because that's mainly where my distractions come from. And so what I did is for my phone, I turned on grayscale and then I deleted all of my non-essential apps. So now there's only, I think it's 4 apps on my home screen or the homepage or whatever. And everything else is gone. It's just the basic things I need for a phone, nothing else. Communication, podcasts, the camera app so I can record these videos, a scripture app that I have. Just the basic things, no games, no social media, nothing else. I also set up my screen time to be a little bit more strict, so I can't use my phone as much during the day, and that will help me to use my phone less as well. And I also made this little box where whenever I get home, I just drop my phone in it, and I just don't have it anymore until I actually need to go out or I need to use it to do something. And thinking back on that week, I felt stressed because I wasn't acting. I felt stressed because I had a plan. I had this plan to do the stuff to prepare for my business. But I wasn't following through with that. Because I wasn't doing what I knew I needed to do, I felt stressed and overwhelmed that I wasn't getting it done, and that the deadline would come and I wouldn't be prepared for it. And then also I became more aware, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to make this video specifically, is that my new journaling process helped me to reflect back on my week and realize that I was wasting my time and not doing what I needed to do. So I'm glad that I developed a new journaling process, and I might explain that a little bit later on in another video. And I need to spend a bit more time focusing on internalizing what I'm learning. So in school, I'm not as focused as I should be. It's not passively intaking the information I'm learning, but I'm not like directly applying it and making sure I know what I'm being taught. So I need to spend a bit more time in school, probably during lunch. During lunch. I need to spend time in school during lunch, just making sure I understand everything, doing practice problems, writing essays for English, speaking Spanish, practicing my Spanish for my Spanish class. I just need to make sure I can do what I need to do so I can be prepared for exams, tests, etc. And then some things I need to recalibrate before I move on. I need to reprioritize my sleep and my focus. So, as I mentioned before, last week I was getting 6.5 hours of sleep, and that is far below what I want it to be. I want it to be 8 to 9 hours regularly. So, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm at 9. No matter what I'm doing, no matter how much I did or didn't do, I'm just going to go to bed. I'll put everything away, I'll shower, and I'll sleep. Even if I miss non-negotiables, I have to go to sleep at 9. This will give me 8 hours of sleep every day, and that will be perfect. And this will give me another rush of urgency, realizing, oh, I have less time now to do things because I'm not going to bed later. So this is going to force me to be able to compress my time a bit more and be more dutiful with where my time is going and doing the things that need to be done and not doing like busy work. And as I mentioned before, and I guess I'm just touching back on this, making sure I understand what's happening in school. And then the biggest thing is copywriting. For my copywriting business, through my journaling process and through reflecting on the past week and seeing and looking back on my copywriting plan, I'm realizing there's a bit more that I need to learn, and need to be able to do before I actually start my copywriting business. And I know I mentioned in the last video, I think it was, that I was going to start my copywriting business on March 1st. But I think I'm going to have to push that back a bit. I'm going to push it back 2 weeks so that my business still starts in March. It will start in March. I think I'll have it start March 15th. I think that's spring break. So spring break will be the week I start, and I'll spend the rest of this time refocusing and being more diligent in doing what I need to learn and doing what I need to do to learn what's necessary to start the business. And the things I'm doing for that, I've been watching a lot of Alex Hormozi content. A lot of I've been watching specifically his like email marketing stuff. And I've been reading books on persuasion and sales and psychology and stuff like that. And I just need to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do every day. Of course, especially if I'm tired, I have to show up. But I need to do more than just the bare minimum. Showing up, yes, that's good. You get that little bit of a check mark showing that, yes, I show up every day, and yes, I can do this. But if that's all you do, you're not going to make nearly as fast progress if you're doing exactly what you need to do, and even a bit more every single day. So, as the start of this week, I have been trying my best to do as much as I can every single day to maximize my time, because we all have the same amount of time, but it's how we use our time that defines where we're going, who we are, and what we are going to become. And that's all I have for today's video. And thank you for watching today. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.